going on, Jerome's? So the most, I would say, like low stakes soap opera around the Minnesota Vikings is Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy. I would say it's like 97% chance it's JJ McCarthy show in 2025. And even though Sam Darnold had some fantastic times, 14-win season, had a lot of ups, had a couple downs right at the end. Right. But, Darnold's going to be somewhere else, whether it's the Raiders, whether it's the Tennessee Titans, whether it's the Rams, once they get rid of Stafford. But you're just hoping that maybe a franchise tag and trade could be worked out, where the Vikings get a little bit of draft compensation this year, don't have to wait for potentially getting a comp pick in 2026, because the Vikings are going to be dogs in free agency, so they might cancel out that credit anyways. But it would be ideal if the Vikings could add a 2, maybe a 3 and a 4, maybe a 2 and a 5. Don't know. I like adding some mid-round draft picks. You're not going to get the 2 ones. From the franchise tag, which never happens. But if the Vikings can get the equivalent value of a second round pick, that would be glorious in this draft class. And with Darnold, like there should be no shortage of suitors out there, because he is the crown jewel of this free agent quarterback class, as well as it's not a good draft quarterback class. So teams certainly should be interested, especially teams that consider themselves a quarterback away. I'm looking at you, Steelers. I'm looking at you, Rams, even though you just won the Super Bowl a couple years ago with Kevin O'Connell as your OC. No big deal. But there definitely should and could be teams in the mix, and hopefully that will make a trade market. Now, I had been a little reticent about the potential tag and trade. Is like, it's probably not going to happen. I would say maybe like a 30% chance happening, 70% no. After today, I'm like 70% that it will happen. And not just because of what Kwesi said. Al Kwesi, Athletic, Vikings GM Kwesi is here on Sam Darnold's decision. We have options. So obviously that could just be GM speak. It's like, we have options. We could But at the combine is where deals get done, because all the GMs, all the executives, all the decision makers, all the agents, which is a major part of a potential tag and trade for this too, because they're just not going to tag and trade Darnold to a place where he doesn't want to go. No, it will be done in concert with the agent and Darnold himself to go to a great situation. Plus, the Vikings wouldn't do him dirty like that anyway. So everything that GMs say, take with a grain of salt. But then you got Rap Sheet. And Rap Sheet was very verbose. There was a lot of verbosity of him being very bullish on the Vikings' ability to tag and trade Sam Darnold. So we'll go through the quote, and Rap Sheet isn't lying here. Like, he's definitely not known as that or an embellisher, and he definitely has his ear to the ground both to executives as well as agents. So this is what he said, quote, "Seems to me this offseason of the quarterbacks available, Sam Darnold seems to be the best. Darnold seems to be the dude. The Vikings have him, so if they want to have him be their starter, they can do that. It's not that hard. They can tag him, or they can reach a new deal based around the tag. If they want to have J.J. McCarthy be their starter, they are in an unbelievable position of just being able to hold on to Darnold and say, quote, you want him, as in Sam Darnold, come get him. Amazing situation for the Vikings. If they're comfortable enough with J.J. McCarthy being their guy, which they should, they can just auction off Sam Darnold and say, come pay for him." So obviously, this could just be Kwesi using Rap Sheet as a sock puppet, but I don't think that's the case. I think that what this is this is not Rap Sheet making things up out of whole cloth or thin air. This is not him just popping off. This is him relaying what he's hearing from executives and around the league. And also, here's the thing too. Like, you can ask a GM or talk to an agent who's not directly involved. They hear a lot more than the insiders do. What's going on in these conversations, who's talking to who, what's the rumor and conjectures and innuendo, what team are potentially interested. So I think that's Rap Sheet channeling this. Plus, Pelissero sitting next to him, he's as tied in with the Vikings as any national insider, and he's not checking him. So this steam is legit. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so damn bullish on this, because lots of things are lining up right now. All right, so why tag and trade is alive? This quarterback draft class sucks. Let's just call it what it is. Like, they're hyping up Jackson Dart as a first-round pick. No. I mean, would Jackson Dart grade out about what Spencer Rattler did last year? Maybe, if it's a normal draft. Teams don't want a bidding war in open free agency. Now, Darnold's going to get a contract, but is he going to grab every single nickel available, or does he want to balance out getting a solid, life-changing contract, which he hasn't had yet, and going to a team that could win? Like, is Darnold just going to be like, hey, I will take all of the money because the Titans are paying me a little bit extra, or the Raiders, or whatever? Or would he want to go to a place like the Steelers and or the Rams if that comes open? Like, would he want to go to a contender, have his cake and eat it too? Certainly think that's possible. Also, giving up. Actually, the Raiders ain't a bad spot because they're going to have a ton of cap to be able to build a team around him and also pay him. Plus Pete Carroll, the USC connection. And plus, I think that he would thrive in Chip Kelly offense. So, yeah. Sorry, Raiders. Rams, Steelers, Raiders, I think are all logical landing spots for Darnold. Plus, giving up a pick, able to work out a deal ahead of the market. I mean, a lot of that is, hey, at the end of the day, if you feel like you're a quarterback away, is that worth a second-round pick and change? Yes, I think it certainly is. Also, courting Sam could cause other teams to miss out on other free agents because legal tampering, yes, 2 days before the start of open free agency, but what if Sam Darnold has multiple teams interested? And what if there's a 5-6 team open free agency bidding war and you have to keep your powder dry and you're missing out on some of these other free agents that you would have loved to sign if you didn't get Darnold, but you can't do it because you're waiting on Sam, who's the most important and most expensive part of your free agency plan. Yeah. Also, Darnold's agent involved in trade destination, like we said, like they're just not going to trade him to China. Vikings get immediate draft compensation versus trying to play draft compensation, not comp pick. It's confusing. So they don't have to play the compensatory pick formula game in 2026. Also, the trade comp won't be insane. Like we said, hey, if you're the Steelers, if you're the Raiders, if you're the Rams, if you want to get your guy, get him early, by the way, and also it's a spot where you don't have to bid against other teams in open free agency. Is that worth a second-round pick to you? Yes, I think it certainly would be. And lastly, franchise tag window closes next Tuesday, 3 p.m. Central Time. Combine wraps up on Sunday. I honestly think that if there's going to be movement on this, it's going to be quick. Like it is going to be within the next week, and we're going to know. I mean, obviously, we're going to know if Darnold is tagged, and if not, he's obviously just going to hit open free agency because I don't think it'll be a sign-and trade situation. But I do think that everything's on the table. I think that there will be a lot of options out there because what happens too, since this is at the combine, I think that some quarterback-needy teams may see some of their quarterbacks throw or have some interviews with them, and maybe they're in, maybe they're out, and maybe they're just like, you know what? We're not wowed by any of these draft quarterbacks, or we're going to be out of range of the one that we want. So let's get serious about getting Sam Darnold. And we would be willing, well, first off, obviously we're going to pay him, but also so we have essentially exclusive negotiating rights. We will work out a tag and trade with the Vikings. They tag him by Tuesday, 3 p.m. Central Time, the only time zone that matters, and we will give up a second-round pick or compensation equivalent to that. And I think that this could come together quickly. And if Kwesi honestly pulls this off, that's huge. That's from honest. If Kwesi does this and gets like a second-round pick plus change, a lot of people owe Kwesi a lot of apologies, but they definitely do. As it is. But your thoughts are thoughts. Tag and trade with Sam Darnold. It's alive. It's alive. Fired up, man. Let us know your thoughts. Comment section. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull. Production value.